And so for a lot of speakers, what they find is if they become good at speaking, they become good at whatever sector they're in or whatever they do, they start speaking a lot because actually they're great speakers and they're going to their industry conferences and they're regularly asked to speak because they're one of the more engaging people. And so and suddenly they're doing this a lot and they're enjoying it. And someone hears them and says, well, will you come and speak to my company? And suddenly they're speaking to this third party, which actually they've got no reference to. And they're doing it because they're a friend, and then someone else comes along and actually they get offered kind of a little bit of money to do it, and they're like this. And suddenly, as soon as you get offered kind of some financial reward or some other type of reward, effectively you could deem yourself a professional speaker. And so I think kind of going back to your question, well, what's the difference between a speaker and a professional speaker? Nothing really, apart from the professional speaker could turn around and said, I'm going to become a professional speaker. But I do think it's that fact of you're putting yourself in environments where actually it's not your home turf. But then as you move on in terms of the world of professional speaking, what you suddenly realize is it's a career. And I think this is a starting place. It's professional speaking is a career. The same way that if you were becoming a teacher, you do your training, you become a teacher and you progress as you get more experience and it's the same in professional speaking. Is you've got to put the groundwork in, you should have a strategy as to where you're looking to go. You should understand your market and your sector and looking where you fit in it. And you should then be putting yourself out there in the right places. And I think the interesting thing in my head about the professional speaker is too many people think the professional speaker, actually the difference between the professional speaker is their ability to speak. And actually it's not really, because the nuances of this speaker against that speaker not many of us are actually exposed to so many speakers that actually we can really understand the nuances of the different speakers. So as long as you are a good speaker, and ideally you're an excellent speaker, but as long as you're a good to excellent speaker, then theoretically you could be a professional speaker. Why? Because you are giving people a good time and you are emotionally connecting to them and you're giving them content and they're getting everything they want out of you. The question to you as a professional speaker, maybe this is a critical difference between a speaker and a professional speaker, is how as a professional speaker do I go out there and get work, as in speaking work, in environments that I am not known in? So if if I work in the pharmaceutical industry, how I might be able to get a speaking gig in the pharmaceutical industry because I'm known there. But how do I go out there and get a speaking gig in the airline industry or something like that?
And the answer is speak to Nick Gold and speak as Con.
Okay, to be honest, the answer is how are you positioning yourself and what are you saying? If you're just talking about the pharmaceutical industry, then I've no interest. But if you're talking about a big industry which is developing, spending huge amounts of money on R&D, that has loads of regulation around it, and it's this, that, and the other, then suddenly other sectors could be really interested and could be looking to see what they could be doing. Yeah. But positioning yourself differently is the game. And as you say,